Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Eddie Marcus once again. I posted a video not too long ago this morning entitled Here's the Truth and Nothing But the Truth. And I went to the store. I went to the dollar store where most poor people go. And the parking lot was filled. I'm telling you, it was filled. So there are a lot of people in the same position that I'm in, dollar money. And on my way back, I had this revelation that I just want to share with you. It might do you some good, I don't know. And it's this. Being a Christian, I'm not just talking about the average Joe Blow. I want to reach them, and by reaching them, I want them to hear me tell you the truth. The things that they have known all along, the things that they have witnessed in your actions that made them decide they didn't want to have anything to do with Christianity. They didn't want to have anything to do with the church, the preacher, or perhaps even God. But I want to just say to you who call yourselves Christians already, I know your intention is well taken. But the reality of it is this. Being a Christian is a responsibility. It is a duty. It is a function. I know many of you think that you can just go around from day to day facing life as you have to. And then on Sundays, if you're blessed, you can put on your pretty little dress and your nice shoes and stockings. And if you got a hat, you're used to wearing hats, you can throw it on and look real pretty. And if you got a decent car, you can sit back and you can go on over to the church. A God-blessed person. When you get out of your car at the church, people look at you and say, and you feel real good about yourself this particular day. Perhaps the other 6 days during the week, maybe you just didn't feel as happy as you feel right now. But at this moment, you are assembling yourselves with the rest of you guys. And you're going to hear this preacher give you a Bible story that you've heard 1,000,000 times. And you're going to feel good about it. You're going to sing songs that testify. And you're going to come on back home and everything, the routine starts all over again. Many of you leave home fussing with your spouse. Don't even come to church with your spouse. And you go in doing your Christian duty, sing your songs, come back home and still fussing with your spouse. And you're calling yourselves a Christian. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me give you a little clear perspective on what a Christian means. Being a Christian means that you weren't born a Christian. You came into this world innocent. And you were kind of maybe what we consider clean. But you grew up in a world, and unfortunately it's true, that was disgusting. Hell, pat, you name it. And your innocence eventually left you because you became just like that environment that you were exposed to each and every day. Didn't matter if you were black or white, rich or poor. If you came in poor, you had that poor attitude. If you were rich, you had that rich attitude. Rich means you own the right to be free. And if you're poor, you only got the right to be poor and mad. And that's how you grow up. And all of the in-betweens that happens, you put on as they are appropriate for that particular position. But to say that you are a Christian, that means you ran into an experience and you are born again. Most people consider being born again when they go to church and hear enough Bible stories. And they like what they hear. And they say they believe and they want to be like the Bible stories say they should be, or the preacher or whatever that is up there talking about God say you should be like. And so some of you stopped drinking if you were drinking. Some of you stopped smoking if you were smoking. Some of you stopped chasing the opposite sex if you were doing it in the beginning. Many of you keep on doing it anyway. But now you say you believe, and you believe Jesus Christ was the Son of God, that he came to the earth and walked upon this earth advocating a love, being the Son of God, one with God, and that because of what he did, how he cared for you, he was slain, he was murdered. And if you believe him, because you are a sinner, because you do these kinds of things that your mind don't want to do, but your body just caught into that thing anyway, and you end up doing it. But just keep on believing, and because he died, God is going to excuse you for all of this crazy stuff you do. Now, doesn't that sound like a blind man talking to you? I'm sure it is. You had a child that you kicked out of the house because he had no sense, acting like a fool. He come back and knocking on your door, still acting like a fool. I don't care how much you love that fool, you gonna send that fool back out there to wake up. And don't you think God is gonna do anything different for you? You acting like a fool, you staying like a fool, you die acting like a fool, and you think God, if there's a heaven, God finna let you in there a fool? I think God will send you back out here. Reincarnate your butt. And I'm not saying that's what happens, but I know before you get through that door, you're going to change. If that wasn't the case, you wouldn't have a choice. If that wasn't the case, you would have been sent down here in the first place. So let's face the facts. Being born again really means opening up your heart. Not listening to somebody talk, not reading the Bible only. These things might have some influence. But being born again means that you humble your heart. Your heart, that hard heart, mean heart, that selfish heart, nobody but you heart. Hey, that baby softens. You begin to change. And when that heart becomes pure enough, it will recognize the Spirit of God that's been there all the time. And when it does that and receives the Spirit of God as its director, it will start responding according to the dictates of that heart. And you will be a changed person. Yes, you will be a changed person. Now, what does that mean? That means that in the world, this world that has been overtaken by the adversary, you got basic essentials for survival. Whether you are in this world or in God's world, you got basic essentials. The difference is that in the world of the adversary, you believe that self is more important and you'll do anything to maintain yourself, to have those benefits of yourself. You will lie, cheat, steal, and kill, whatever, because you've been deceived to think that you're entitled. But if you were mind changed, renewed, a new creature, these things, you still need food, clothing, but you won't go at it the same way. You'll go at it differently. You would resist the way of doing things that the adversary has taught you. And you will stand up for God's way of doing things. Oh, it would be a challenge. It's not going to be easy to go up against the world that's been spending however many years America has been here, and the years before America was even born. You got to go up against that, talking about a different way of doing things. Might be under capitalism, socialism, dictatorships. Might be under any of these things. But now, God only has one way. Just one way, my friends. And you will know it. And you got to stand up against all of these other ways. And your heart will tell you, if you cannot have it God's way, you will resist it any other way. You might, through your selfishness, had your necessities for survival. But now your responsibility is those who don't have them. Now your heart is so big till you reach out and you want to protect them from this old world, this adversary, this deception. You want to make sure that that crutch that's been bopping them and beating them down their entire lives, the one that had you, but now that you're free from, you want to become an instrument, a representation of something so much different, something that you've learned, this new you, this standing up for what's right you, standing up for them, getting them off the street corner with signs begging, going down there making sure the government treats them right. Treats them right and respond. And what is the right way? The way that God has designed. The way that all men, all women, all children can live here as though they are in heaven. So it's a rough road to hoe, but that's what being a Christian is like. You see, Many of you are from the South. You used to go to the field. You used to chop cotton. And when you chop cotton, what you were doing, you were thinning out the cotton. You were getting the weeds out so the cotton could grow, so the cotton could produce the best. You making sure that it was taken care of. That's what a Christian does. In the middle of all the spigot, in the middle of all the stuff, your responsibility is to weed out that stuff that is corrupted. Weed out that stuff that brings on corruption. Weed out all that stuff that brings on selfishness. That's your duty. That's your responsibility. That's what being a Christian is all about. That's how they can tell that you're different than somebody else. Somebody else is out there trying to get it all for themselves in the way they can. And you're standing up trying to show them that there's a better way. Protecting them from what they have learned. And for those who are suffering, trying to show them how to stand up. Show them how you are standing up. Oh boy, don't you think God gets the glory? And if you are murdered or killed or something like that, I tell you that if there's a heaven, there's a door swinging open. Can't wait till you get there to show some more love to you for what you've done. That's what being a Christian like. It's like a Christian perhaps is like picking cotton. You want to pick the cotton out of the bowl. You definitely do. And whoever you're doing it for wants you to strip the hulls off. You don't want to put it in a sack, because then you got to go to the gin and they got to separate it. But if you do a good job, you just put the cotton there. That's what being a Christian is all about. That's the duty. That's the responsibility of a Christian. And so a Christian is thinking about how wonderful life is. Because God is in that Christian, showing that Christian every day how wonderful life is. When you see the obstacles of that wonderful life, you see it for what it is. But you can really understand, because at the same time you see what it should be like. You see, you must understand that's what the Garden of Eden was all about. In the beginning, they were put there to protect it, to cultivate it, to harvest it, to make sure that its beauty would maintain itself. Anytime something would come up that was out of order, get rid of it. When that snake or that idea or whatever it was that came to Eve, if it's true, and said you will not surely die, that was a part of the weeds. That was the part of the grass, the Johnson grass, the stuff that hides the truth. It was supposed to have been wiped out, cleared out, given no space to grow. But it wasn't. And it grew, 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 and it's growing every day. Now this Sunday is Easter, coming up, 2 or 3 more days. And people are going to be celebrating the resurrection of Jesus Christ. The one that this whole thing of Christianity is supposedly based on. Most folks don't even believe Jesus Christ ever existed, but whether you do or not, that's what this day is to represent. A wonderful, wonderful guy, Son of God, one with God, knew the way and walked according to it. The world offered him everything the same that they offered Trump and Putin and all these dictators. And he said, no way, Jose. Nah, not that way. And so this is the one that you're celebrating. The church is going to be filled with people supposedly celebrating the actions of this one. And your actions are nothing like that. And so my job, my good friends and sisters and brothers, is to remind you that you are playing Christians. You are as fake as Santa Claus. But it is not to put you down, it's just to tell you the truth. But not just tell you the truth, to share with you what I have just shared with you so you can know the difference. Now, what I have just shared with you is so much more than you hearing about Abraham, or you hearing about Jacob, or you hearing about Saul, or you hearing about any of those people in the book. They are okay. These are people supposedly who had a relationship with God. But I want you to know, if God spoke to them during that day and time, God is still speaking today to those who can hear. And very few people, it seems, can hear, because the world is going to hell in a handbasket. But I must say, it's probably more out there listening to God than we will admit, because whether you know it or not, we are still here. And if we were all gone, if we had all turned our backs on God, I'm sure this earth would have been destroyed a long time ago. So there's still hope. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't Well, I just wanted to share this with you. I'll let this be my so-called Easter message. I just couldn't wait to get back and pick up this microphone and put that camera up there and say what I have said and get ready to close it off and go in there and post this on the internet and Facebook. So for those of you who are searching, those of you who want to know the truth, those of you who are tired of being victimized, tired of being beat down, tired of being whipped, can get some hope. And hopefully this will build your faith. And when building your faith will encourage you, give you some boldness to stand. But you're not going to be able to do it really until you get your heart right. Because until you get your heart right, you really don't have God. Everything is just a belief. And it's just like a straw that's blowing in the wind. Any way the wind blows, that's the way you go. Beware. God is love. And anybody that is a child of God possesses love. And love is love. It's not hate. It's not selfishness. I want to thank you once again. This is Eddie Marcus. Bye-bye.